The grand chamber of the Galactic Council stretched higher than Earth's tallest skyscrapers. Its crystal walls sparkled with the light of 3 different suns, and its seats rose in perfect circles, holding representatives from over 500 advanced civilizations. At the very bottom of this massive room stood one human, Ambassador James Miller, looking smaller than ever in his carefully pressed black suit. Miller gripped his data tablet tightly, trying to keep his hands from shaking. This was humanity's big moment, their first official petition to join the galactic community. After decades of preparation, Earth had finally developed its first faster-than-light ship, meeting the minimum requirement for consideration. Species 4172 approached the central platform, boomed a voice from above. The translation chip in Miller's ear worked perfectly, though the tone of boredom in the alien voice needed no translation. Walking forward, Miller could feel thousands of eyes on him. Some of the alien species had more than 2 eyes, and a few didn't have eyes at all, but used other senses to watch him. The platform rose slowly as he stepped onto it, lifting him about 10 feet into the air, still far below most of the council members. "Present your case," said High Counselor Brightstar, a being made mostly of light and gas who floated in an environment suit. The High Counselor didn't even bother to look at Miller, instead checking something on a floating screen. Miller cleared his throat. "Honorable members of the Galactic Council, I come before you today representing Earth and humanity. We have achieved faster-than-light travel and have established colonies on Mars and Europa. We seek to join the galactic community and share in the exchange of knowledge and culture." A low rumble of laughter spread through the chamber. Miller felt his face grow hot, but he continued. "We bring many innovations that could benefit the Council. Our advances in computer technology, medical research, and environmental restoration cold." "Computer technology," interrupted a blue-skinned council member. "You still use silicon-based computing. How quaint." More laughter followed. High Counselor Brightstar raised an appendage for silence. "Ambassador Miller, we have reviewed Earth's technological status. You achieved FTL travel only by reverse engineering a crashed scout ship. Your species still fights among itself over resources. You've barely begun to understand quantum mechanics, and your grasp of genetic engineering is primitive at best." Miller stood straighter. "With respect, High Counselor, humanity has made great strides in the last century. Our unity in space exploration." "Unity?" A harsh voice cut through the chamber. "We monitored your worldwide communications. Just last week, your nations argued about mining rights on your own moon. You call that unity?" The laughter grew louder. Some council members weren't even trying to hide their amusement anymore. Miller saw recordings of Earth appearing on floating screens throughout the chamber. News clips of protests, military conflicts, poverty. They were showing Earth's worst moments, completely ignoring its achievements. High Counselor Brightstar raised their appendage again. "The Council has made its decision. Earth is classified as a Class 4 developing species. You are restricted from expanding beyond your solar system. You may not trade with advanced civilizations without supervision. You may not access the galactic database of technology. You may petition again in 50 standard years." 50 years. Miller protested. "But our population is growing. We need resources, new colonies. Learn to manage what you have." Another council member called out. "If you can't handle your own system, you certainly can't handle interstellar responsibilities." The platform began to lower. Miller stood there, face burning, as the council members either laughed or simply ignored him, already moving on to other matters. As he walked out of the chamber, he heard snippets of conversation. "Can you believe they still use combustion engines? Did you see their primitive spacesuits? They'll probably blow themselves up before the 50 years are up." Miller's hands clenched into fists as he walked back to the Earthship docked in the visitor's bay. He took one last look at the massive council tower reaching into the alien sky. They thought Earth was a joke, a primitive backwater barely worth their attention. But they hadn't bothered to look deeper. They hadn't noticed that humanity's greatest advances weren't in flashy space travel or fancy energy weapons. They had missed something crucial about humans, something they would soon regret overlooking. Miller smiled slightly as he boarded his ship. Let them laugh. They wouldn't be laughing for long. Director Anna Thompson stood at the window of her underground office, watching scientists and military personnel hurry through the sprawling complex below. The Global Defense Initiative's main facility, hidden deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, housed humanity's greatest secrets. The video feed of Ambassador Miller's humiliation at the Galactic Council played on loop on one of her screens. Most of Earth's population was angry. Some were scared. But Anna, she was smiling. They fell for it completely, Admiral Robert Hayes said as he walked into her office. His uniform was crisp, but the dark circles under his eyes showed how hard he'd been working. Our act as a primitive species worked better than we hoped. Anna turned from the window. The Council's arrogance made it easy. They were so busy looking for advanced spaceships that they missed everything important. She waved her hand, and the air filled with holographic displays, all running without any alien technology. "How are the test results?" she asked. Hayes pulled up more displays with a few quick hand gestures. "Perfect. Our quantum AI systems are now 50 times faster than anything the Council races use. They're still stuck on traditional computing, thinking it's the only way forward." The displays showed streams of data from Earth's hidden facilities around the solar system. While the Council thought humans were struggling with basic spaceflight, the truth was very different. Earth had colonies all right. They were just invisible to alien sensors. And the phase shift technology. Hayes grinned, ready for deployment. The aliens rely too much on their energy shields. They never considered that we'd find a way to simply step through them. He brought up a video showing a test weapon passing straight through an alien-style shield as if it wasn't there. A young technician rushed into the office, almost forgetting to salute. "Director, Admiral, we just got word from the Mars base. The pirates are coming, just like you predicted." Anna nodded. This was what they'd been waiting for. The Council's dismissal of Earth had done exactly what they'd hoped. It marked them as an easy target. Pirates would come, thinking Earth was defenseless. "How many ships?" Hayes asked. 3 battle cruisers, sir. They think they'll need only that many to raid our primitive Mars colonies." Anna walked to her desk and pressed her palm on its surface. A hidden compartment opened, revealing a red button. Time to show them their first surprise. "Admiral, is Defense Grid Alpha ready?" "Yes, Director. All systems are green." The grid is invisible to their scans. They think we just have a few basic satellites. And our quantum computers have already cracked their communication codes. Hayes nodded. "We've been listening to them for weeks. They're so confident they're not even being careful with their transmissions." Anna looked at the latest images from Mars. The pirates would arrive in less than 6 hours, expecting to find a helpless colony protected by primitive weapons. Instead, they'd run straight into humanity's first line of defense. "Send word to all bases," she ordered. "Operation Humble Beginning is now active. But remember, we show them only 10% of what we can really do. Let's not spoil all our surprises at once." The technician looked nervous. "Ma'am, shouldn't we show them everything? Scare them off for good?" Anna shook her head. "No. The Council needs to think this is a lucky break, a single advanced weapon system we stumbled upon. They need to keep underestimating us." She smiled. "After all, the best advantage is the one your opponent doesn't know you have." Hayes studied the tactical displays. "The pirate ships are following exactly the approach vector we predicted. They're not even running active scans. They think we can't detect them anyway." "Perfect." Anna straightened her jacket. "Notify all personnel. Battle stations in 4 hours. Let's give these pirates a proper Earth welcome." She looked back at the video of the Galactic Council laughing at humanity. "And let's make sure the Council hears about just enough of what happens to make them nervous, but not enough to make them suspicious." The pieces were falling into place. The council thought they were dealing with primitive humans who would spend the next 50 years licking their wounds. They didn't realize they had just started a chain of events that would change the galaxy forever. "Let them laugh," Anna said softly. "The best revolutions are the ones nobody sees coming." The 3 pirate ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Mars, their dark hulls reflecting the distant sunlight. Each ship was the size of a small city, bristling with weapons that could level mountains. Their crews were confident. After all, they were raiding a primitive world that barely had space travel. In the Mars Defense Command Center, hidden a kilometer beneath the red planet's surface, Lieutenant Tom Wilson watched the pirates approach on his monitoring screens. "They're right where we want them, Director Thompson." Through the quantum communication link, Anna Thompson's voice came through perfectly clear despite being on Earth. "Status of the defense grid. Ready and invisible, ma'am. The pirates are scanning with standard sensors. They're not seeing anything except our decoy facilities on the surface." The largest pirate ship moved forward first. Its captain's voice boomed across all frequencies, not bothering to encrypt the message. "Attention Mars Colony. This is Captain Dex of the Free Stars Raiders. Your defenses are pathetic. Surrender your resources, and we may let you live." Tom smiled as he saw the familiar script playing out. The pirates always started with threats, thinking fear would make their job easier. "They're charging weapons," reported another operator. "Standard plasma cannons. Nothing special." Anna's voice was calm. "Let them fire once. Let them think they have the upper hand." The pirate ship's main cannon glowed bright purple, then launched a massive energy bolt at the largest visible Mars colony. The bolt struck the colony's basic shield, the primitive one they'd left visible, and shattered it easily. Captain Dex laughed over the comm. "See how weak you are. Your best defenses couldn't even." He never finished the sentence. At that moment, Tom pressed a single button, and humanity showed its first card. 100 hidden satellites activated at once, but instead of firing energy weapons or missiles, they released a wave of quantum-shifted particles, invisible to normal space, and completely ignored by standard shields. The particles passed through the pirates' expensive energy shields as if they weren't there. When they reached the ship's hulls, they shifted back to normal space, inside the metal. There was no explosion, no dramatic light show. The ships simply stopped working. What is this?" Captain Dex's voice had lost all its confidence. "Nothing's responding. Engines are dead. Shields are still up, but nothing works." "This is Mars Defense Command," Tom transmitted, trying to hide his amusement. "Your ships have been disabled by our planetary defense grid. Your weapons are offline. Your engines are offline. Your communications will be next." The other 2 pirate ships tried to turn and run. They barely moved before the quantum wave hit them too. All 3 massive ships now floated helplessly in space, their crews trapped inside their own advanced shields. In the command center, the operators tried to maintain their professional demeanor, but a few couldn't help grinning. Humanity's first real space battle had ended in less than 5 minutes. "Send in the boarding ships," Anna ordered. "Standard arrest procedures. And make sure to be obvious about using our primitive ships to tow them. We want witnesses." News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light. Most didn't believe it at first. 3 of the most feared pirate ships in the sector, captured by a Class 4 civilization. It had to be a joke. But the evidence was clear. Earth's lucky defense of Mars became the talk of every spaceport and alien bar. Most dismissed it as a fluke, probably some forgotten defense system they'd found in their solar system. The Council officially called it an interesting but minor event. But a few smarter aliens began to wonder, how had humanity developed something that ignored advanced shields? Why hadn't Earth's ambassador seemed surprised or afraid when meeting the Council? In her office, Anna Thompson read the reports of the aliens' reactions with satisfaction. "Send the coded update to our allies," she told her staff. Tell them Phase 1 is complete. The spark has been lit. She looked at the image of the captured pirate ships, now being slowly towed to Earth by primitive human vessels. The galaxy thought they'd seen humanity's big moment, their one lucky breakthrough. They had no idea this was just the beginning. Trade Representative Mark Wilson walked through the crowded space station market, pretending to be lost. The station hung at the edge of Council space, where rules were looser and secrets could be traded freely. His simple clothes and uncertain manner made him look like just another human tourist, amazed by alien technology. But Mark wasn't lost at all. He checked his hidden quantum scanner. 3 Council spy drones followed him, just as expected. Time to lose them. He turned down a busy corridor filled with food stalls, the air thick with cooking smells from 100 worlds. Fresh earth spices, a vendor called out. Real coffee beans. That was the signal. Mark stumbled into the stall, knocking over a display of coffee bags. While helping to pick them up, he slipped through a hidden door behind the counter. The room beyond was small but packed with advanced technology. 2 figures waited inside. A tall, reptilian alien with scales that shifted color like oil on water, and a crystalline being that glowed with inner light. "Welcome, human," the reptilian alien said. "I am first speaker Dash of the Draken worlds." His people had been stuck as a Class 3 civilization for 500 years, always finding their advancement applications rejected by the Council. The crystal being chimed softly. "I am Unity Voice from the Crystal Collective." Their species have been classified as too different to join the Council, forced to live on the edges of civilized space. Mark straightened up, dropping his tourist act. "Thank you for meeting me. I trust you saw what happened at Mars." "Indeed," Dash said, his scales rippling with interest. "Your quantum phase technology is impressive. The Council claims you got lucky, found some ancient defense system. The Council sees what it wants to see." Mark pulled out a small device and activated it. A hologram appeared, showing Earth's true technological achievements. "We've had quantum computing for decades. We just kept it hidden." Unity Voice chimed in surprise. "Your computing power exceeds the Council's by a significant margin. How did you manage to hide this?" "The Council looks for energy signatures they understand. They never thought to look for anything different." Mark smiled. "Just like they never looked too deeply at your crystal-based computing. First speaker Dash, or your species' natural quantum properties." Unity Voice. Both aliens went still. They had their own secrets, capabilities their people had hidden from the Council's prejudiced eyes. "You've been watching us," Dash said. It wasn't a question. "Yes, Earth has been searching for allies, species who understand what it's like to be underestimated, overlooked." Mark gestured to his hologram. "We're proposing an alliance. Shared technology. Shared knowledge." Unity Voice glowed brighter. "The Council forbids such exchanges between lower-tier civilizations. The Council only forbids what it can detect." Mark pressed a button, and the hologram showed new images. "We have ways to communicate and trade that they can't track. We can help each other advance. Prepare for the day when we show our true strength." Dash's scales shifted to a deep blue of contemplation. "If we're caught, we'll be careful," Mark assured him. "Earth doesn't want a war. We want change. Real change, for all species who've been held back by the Council's prejudice." He placed 2 small devices on the table. "These are quantum communicators, untraceable. Take them, study them. If you decide to join us, they'll let you contact me securely." Unity Voice extended a crystalline appendage, light pulsing with curiosity. "You trust us with this technology." "Trust has to start somewhere." Mark headed for the door. "The Council thinks they know everything worth knowing. That's their weakness. Together, we can show them how wrong they are." After Mark left, using another hidden exit to avoid the spy drones, Dash picked up one of the communicators. "The humans are either very clever or very foolish." Unity Voice chimed softly. "Perhaps they are both." and perhaps that makes them exactly the allies we need. Above them, in the busy station market, life continued as normal. The Council's spies reported nothing unusual about the human tourist who got lost in the market and eventually found his way back to his ship. They didn't notice that a spark of revolution had just been lit, one that would soon spread across the galaxy. The game of shadows had begun. Dr. Lisa Cooper brushed dust off another alien artifact, carefully scanning it with both standard and quantum sensors. Her team had been digging on this abandoned world for 3 months, far from the Council's usual patrol routes. The planet's red sun cast long shadows through the ruins of what had once been a mighty civilization. Dr. Cooper, one of her assistants, ran up, holding a small device. "We found something in the lower chamber. Well, you need to see this." The lower chamber was deep underground, untouched for thousands of years. As Lisa entered, her quantum scanner picked up an energy signature that shouldn't have been possible. "It's still running," her assistant said. "After all this time, it's still running." In the center of the chamber stood a pillar covered in strange markings. But unlike the dead ruins above, this pillar hummed with power. A holographic display flickered to life as they approached. "Record everything," Lisa ordered, her heart racing. "Standard and quantum frequencies." The hologram showed scenes from the past. A thriving civilization, more advanced than Earth in some ways. They had developed technology different from the Council's standard path, just like humans had. And then, "Stop," Lisa said. "Play that part again." The scene showed Council ships arriving. But they weren't coming in peace. The Council representatives demanded this civilization stop their dangerous technological development. When they refused, they destroyed them, Lisa whispered. Not directly, but the recording showed how the Council had engineered the civilization's collapse, cutting them off from resources, spreading lies about their technology being unstable and dangerous. Her quantum scanner beeped, detecting a data core inside the pillar. It took hours to safely extract it, but what they found made every minute worth it. "It's all here," Lisa told Director Thompson over their secure quantum link. "Records going back thousands of years. The Council didn't just do this once. They'd been doing it for millennia." She sent the data to Earth. The records showed dozens of civilizations that had developed alternative technologies. Each time, the Council had stepped in. Some civilizations were destroyed. Others were forced to restart from scratch. A few were allowed to survive as primitive species, their true potential hidden away. And look at this, Lisa pointed to one record. The Drakens, their primitive technology. It wasn't primitive at all. The Council forced them to abandon their most advanced research. Same with the Crystal Collective. Anna Thompson's voice was tight with controlled anger. Our new allies were right. The Council's been systematically holding back any civilization that develops along a different path than theirs. There's more, Lisa said. These records show that quantum technology like ours was discovered by others before. The Council feared it because they couldn't control it, couldn't monitor it, couldn't stop it. She looked around the ancient chamber. This civilization found a way to hide their most important records from the Council's sensors. They knew what was coming. They left this for someone to find. "Can we verify it?" Anna asked. "Prove it's real. The quantum signatures can't be faked, and I'm sending you images of Council ships from the recordings. The designs match their old fleet perfectly. This evidence will stand up to any examination." Lisa walked to the pillar and placed her hand on it. This civilization knew they were going to fall, but they made sure the truth wouldn't die with them. They left it for someone who could understand their quantum technology. "They left it for us," Anna said softly. "For Earth." Back in her office, Anna Thompson looked at the data streaming in from Lisa's team. This was what they'd been waiting for. Evidence that would shake the Council's authority to its core. "Start sending copies through our secure network," she ordered. "To our allies first, then to sympathetic Council members. Let's see how the Council explains this." The truth was out there, hidden in ruins scattered across the galaxy. The Council's biggest secret was about to be exposed, and humanity would make sure everyone knew. The Council's military fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Earth's moon. 20 massive warships, each one capable of destroying a continent, arranged themselves in an attack formation. Their mission was simple: remind humanity of its place in the galaxy. Admiral Robert Hayes watched them approach from Earth Defense Command. "Right on schedule," he said. "The Council's gotten nervous about our recent luck with the pirates." Director Anna Thompson nodded. "They want to remind us how powerless we are. How many ships did we let them detect?" "Just the decoys. As far as they know, we have 5 outdated defense platforms and a handful of primitive warships." Hayes smiled. "They think this show of force will terrify us back into submission." The Council Fleet's commander broadcast on all frequencies. "Attention Earth forces. This is High Commander Bright of the Council Defense Force. We are conducting a routine inspection of your system's defenses. Power down your weapons and prepare for inspection." Anna pressed a button on her command console. "This is Earth Defense Command. We're detecting 20 warships in attack formation. That seems like a lot for a routine inspection." "Your recent activities have concerned the Council," Bright replied. "The technology you used against the pirates. You will submit to a full inspection and surrender any advanced weapons you've discovered." Hayes looked at his tactical display. The Council ships were almost in position. "They're preparing to power up their main weapons. Just to scare us, of course." "Of course," Anna said dryly. She opened a channel to all Earth forces. "Operation Clear Sky is now active. Remember, show them enough to make them understand, but not enough to make them desperate." The Council Fleet's weapons came online, their energy signatures lighting up the sensors. High Commander Bright's voice carried a hint of smugness. "To demonstrate the consequences of resistance, we will now disable one of your defense platforms. This is for your own protection." The largest Council warship fired a massive energy beam at the nearest Earth platform. The beam struck and passed right through it. "What?" Bright's confusion was clear. "Report. What happened?" "The platforms are holograms, Commander," Anna transmitted calmly. "We learned that trick from the records of civilizations your Council destroyed. Would you like to see what our real defense grid looks like?" She nodded to Hayes. "Show them." Thousands of quantum satellites became visible, surrounding the Council fleet in a perfect sphere. But instead of weapons, they projected a simple field of energy. On the Council ships, alarms began blaring. "What's happening?" Bright demanded. "Nothing's responding." "We've trapped you in a quantum stasis field," Hayes explained. "Your weapons still work. Your shields are still up. You just can't actually use any of them, like putting a glass box around a loaded gun." Through the quantum sensors, they could see panic spreading through the Council fleet. Some ships tried to fire their weapons, which worked perfectly but couldn't extend beyond their own shields. Others attempted to flee, their engines powering up but going nowhere. "This is impossible," Bright said. "Your civilization is primitive. You can't have this technology." "We've had it for decades," Anna replied. "We just didn't show it. Like many other civilizations you dismissed as primitive, we found our own path to advancement, one you couldn't understand or control." She let that sink in before continuing. "We're going to release you now. You'll be able to return to the Council and report what happened. But first, watch this." Every Council ship's computer system suddenly displayed the evidence Dr. Cooper had discovered, the records of the Council's systematic suppression of alternative technologies, the destruction of civilizations that refused to comply. "We have proof," Anna said quietly, "of everything. And we've already shared it with others. Your time of keeping advanced civilizations down is over." The quantum field disappeared. The Council ships hung in space, no longer trapped but not moving. "The choice is yours," Anna concluded. "You can adapt to a galaxy where other civilizations are allowed to grow and develop their own ways, or you can become relics of a past age. Either way, change is coming." One by one, the council ships turned and flowed back into faster-than-light travel. The demonstration was over. The real work was about to begin. A month after Earth's demonstration of power, the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council looked very different. Half the seats stood empty. Many council members had fled when the evidence of their crimes spread across the galaxy. Others had joined the growing coalition of reform-minded species. Ambassador James Miller stood on the same platform where he'd been humiliated before. But this time, he wasn't alone. First Speaker Dash of the Drakens stood to his left, scales shimmering with confidence. Unity Voice of the Crystal Collective glowed brightly on his right. Representatives from 30 other primitive species filled the speaking platform. "The old council is finished," Miller announced to the remaining members. "Too many civilizations have seen the truth. Too many have realized that there isn't just one path to advancement." The chamber screens displayed scenes from across the galaxy. Crystal Collective ships flying with their true technology revealed. Draken worlds showcasing innovations they'd hidden for centuries. Dozens of other species bringing out achievements they'd kept secret from council oversight. "Earth doesn't want to rule," Miller continued. "We don't want to replace one group of oppressors with another. What we want, what all of us want, is freedom to grow in our own ways." Trade Representative Mark Wilson stepped forward, holding up a data crystal. "We've drafted a new charter for a galactic coalition. All species will have equal voice, regardless of their technological path. No more artificial rankings, no more suppression of alternative technologies." High Counselor Brightstar, one of the few original council members who'd chosen to stay, floated forward. "And those who oppose this new order, what happens to them?" Director Anna Thompson, attending via quantum projection, answered that question. Her image appeared in the center of the chamber, as solid-looking as if she were really there. "We could force compliance," she said. "Earth's quantum technology, combined with crystal collective computing and Draken phase shift drives, could easily overwhelm any resistance. But that's not our way." She gestured, and the chamber screen showed new images. Joint scientific projects between different species, trading posts where various civilizations shared discoveries, schools where young beings from all species learn together. Those who want to keep to the old council ways can do so in their own space. But the lanes of trade, the exchange of ideas, the flow of progress, that will all go through coalition space now. Stay isolated if you wish, but know that you'll be choosing to leave the future behind. The remaining council members muttered among themselves. Some looked angry, others afraid. But many showed signs of interest, of hope. First Speaker Dash addressed them directly. "My people hid their achievements for 500 years, living as second-class citizens. The Crystal Collective was banished to the edges of space. Humanity was laughed at and dismissed. Look at us now." Unity Voice chimed in agreement, their crystalline form pulsing with light. "The coalition offers membership to all, even those who once supported the council. The past is past. The future belongs to those willing to embrace change." One by one, council members began to stand, not in opposition, but in support. The chamber's mood shifted from tension to cautious optimism. Ambassador Miller smiled as he watched former oppressors and oppressed finding common ground. Earth's plan had worked better than anyone had hoped. Not just revolution, but reconciliation. "The coalition's first meeting will be held on Earth," he announced. "All species welcome, all technologies respected, all paths to advancement honored." As the chamber erupted in cheers and declarations of support, Anna Thompson's projection watched with satisfaction. The revolution they'd planned hadn't needed a single shot fired in anger. Knowledge, truth, and the simple demonstration of power had been enough. Humanity had shocked the galaxy not just with their hidden strength, but with their wisdom in using it. The age of the council was over. The age of the coalition had begun. And somewhere, on a long-dead world, ancient quantum records updated themselves one final time. The civilization that had left them would never see their plan bear fruit, but they would have been proud. The galaxy was finally free.